Hey garden friends, I am just chiming in here with you on a Sunday afternoon. I have some potting up to do. It's been partly cloudy, partly sunny, so it's toasty in here. I was going to try to get some work done in the Rose Alley, but it's just too chilly out there. It's going to warm up this week, so I have time to do that. So I thought since it was warm in here, we would get a few things done in here. I want to share an update with you on my winter sowing. Actually the best thing that I started seeds in this winter indoors, and just a little bit of potting up, and we'll chit chat about a few things. So if you're new here, my name is Pam, and this is my flower patch, where I share my tips, tricks, garden adventures, my failures, what I've learned along the way, all in hopes it can help you to enjoy your garden even more. So let's get rolling. All right, so I've been potting up a lot of my seedlings. This is an ivy geranium, and some of my little coleus. Now, I have to say, I had tried those, and I don't know if I posted it yet, but I did a video, and I don't even know, like I said, if I put it up, on using, they're called poo pots. And oh yes, here they are. Here they are. This is one of them. It's one of these. I did the 6-packs. To tell you the truth, I didn't do very well with them. I don't know. If you've had success, please let me know. Maybe I did something wrong. But here, in fact, these coleus I took out of one of these, but here's the other one. And you see how they're just looking so scraggly and kind of, I started a bunch in an egg carton, and remember I shared that with you in a video on starting seeds and that. And let me show you those. I had potted them up, and look at these things. They're gorgeous and so much healthier and further along, and I did them about the same time. That's what's so amazing. So with these egg cartons, normally I don't buy eggs because I have my chickens, but I had to because of an incident of losing my chickens, which if you've been around here long, you know what happened. But anyway, so I was buying eggs at Costco, and it came in these big plastic things, and I poked holes and used them for seed starting, and it worked beautifully. Now, I think, this is my supposition, let me open it, that because it was so shallow, that and I tried to keep up with the watering because it was so shallow, but they dried out, meaning that they didn't hold moisture too long. I have a feeling that most of the plants I did in these poo pots, I think it holds too much water, moisture, and they just didn't thrive. I don't know if that kind of aided in I had a lot of fungus gnats, so I don't know if it was that or really what, but they just didn't do well. So I'm hoping these, as I pot them up, this one in fact is just dying, that they will continue to flourish and grow on. I stopped planting in the poo pots. They were a total fail for me and not worth it. I'd rather go ahead and start more seeds. In fact, that's why I have it out here in one of these. I also start seeds. These are some tomato seeds I just started in flats, where they're not divided up, and I have really good success with that too. And this is a recycled container as well, so those work really well for me. So let's check in with the winter sowing. If you check back, I'll link it in the description box below. I did some winter sowing in containers. I like these kind of containers, and this. Now they say that the ones that are more opaque are better, because for some reason you get some green whatever growing in the bottom from the sun going through the soil. I haven't had any trouble with this one, but I have them setting in trays, so they're up against each other, so it's basically shaded. So I don't seem to have an issue with any of the green stuff or their roots failing because of that. But let's go ahead. This one is Yarrow Colorado blend. In fact, I did a whole thing on can you winter sow yarrow, I think. Anyways, These are really pretty colors. Hopefully this isn't too loud for you. I have it written on here, so I can just throw this tape away. And I want to show you what it's looking at. Look at those. Aren't they gorgeous? Beautiful, beautiful. Now these are probably getting pretty ready to be potted up. I can go ahead and feed them with my organic liquid feed. I want to say these were buried under 6 feet of snow at one point. Now I had some more out there that kind of got smushed and opened. Those don't seem to be doing as well, the ones that got opened by the snow. But these others, this one is Verbena bonariensis. This is Vanity. It's supposed to be a shorter growing one. And again, it might get a little noisy as I take this tape off. Yeah, it's written on there too. I write it in several places in case it gets washed off. But look at these little seedlings. Now, it's only been about 3 weeks since the snow melted. So these had already started underneath that deep snow. For some reason, they knew it was spring, even though they were buried. Anyways, and then once it started to warm up, they really sprouted. Then it turned cold again. Turned really cold, and they just kind of stalled. Now, that is why with winter sowing, you want to do the cold hardy annuals and perennials. Don't do the cold sensitive ones. Don't do like cosmos, zinnias, tomatoes and things like that in winter, because when you have the warm spells, then the really cold spells and they're out in it, they will just die. So those will be a fail. Cold hardy annuals and perennials, again, is what you want to use for winter sowing. Now you can use the winter sowing method to start tomatoes and whatever, but you do it later in the season. And by then you might as well, for many of them, started them indoors. Now in some years you can get away with doing the others because you won't have those weird springs where you have really warm nights and then it turns super cold, freezing nights and kills them off. Winter sowing was originally for cold, hardy annuals and perennials. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so this is an indicator of the majority of my winter sowing attempts this year. I know a lot of people across the country had a really bad year for winter sowing. And it varies from year to year. I've had years, most years I have really good success, but it makes sure I'm using the right plants or starting with the right plants. Everything else, I pretty much start inside. So anyways, this is what I was going to share too. I had a package of sunflowers. I am growing sunflowers this year. I am going to start them inside before putting them outside or in here in the greenhouse because I have gophers that love the sunflower seeds in the ground. So anyways, this was an old packet of seeds. I don't know if I'm going to be able to salvage these because I'm going to have to really get gnarly with them. But I wanted to see if they would be good. I mean, these were very old seeds. So this was a package of a mix of sunflowers of different sunny, like sunrise mix or something. So they had oranges, yellows, reds, and they grow. Many of them did. Let me see if all of them did. No, this one looks like it didn't do anything. But I have at least 3 on this edge that sprouted. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try to save them. I have my little pots. Now I showed you my new favorite little pots. These are 2.5-inch ones. Excuse me. And they are see-through. Now I had some people express concern that the roots would be damaged because they're see-through. Well, that's a valid concern if you're having them in it for very long. But I don't. They grow so fast in these things that you need to pot them up pretty quick, or can. Now, if that's going to be a concern for you, let me see, do I have it out here? Maybe it's inside. What I did was I put them inside of a little 6-pack container. I put these so that this was shaded by the black of the 6-pack container. Yeah, let me see, right here's one. This is what I did. I stuck them inside there. But see, they're taller than the 6-pack so that they have more room for deeper root growth. And it seems to be working just great. Now, I will say that even though I had a bunch of things planted in these, And I still do I, over here? Yeah. I've had no issue with the green. Well, there's a little bit of the green. That's coming from the sunlight hitting, but the plant's thriving. And this is on the end, so it's getting light. Now, the second one up next to it, let me see, has it got none? None. So it's just fine. So I've had no issue. Now, these have been in here for a few weeks. So if they're in, I think, in one of their flats where they're all together and close up, I don't think you have any issue with the roots posing, getting whatever problem they're saying will happen. Let me get a big scoop of my. Now, right now, this time instead of Edna's Best potting soil, I bought E.B. Stone's raised bed and potting mix because I wanted to use some out in the raised beds. I don't know if there's a difference between Edna's Best, because that's by E.B. Stone as well, or the raised bed and potting mix. Both are organic. But anyways, I just got that one to be dual purpose. So I'm going to put a little bit in here, and I'm going to try and get this off of here without tearing up the root too much. Let me see, there's 2 of them there. Ooh, came apart just fine. That's why I like using a coffee filter rather than a paper towel, because they are, I guess maybe because of the tighter weave, I'm not sure. There's less chance, I need to pour some out, less chance of it intertwining into the material. I've had trouble with paper towels in that the roots actually grow through it, and then you have to tear the paper towel, and that can be very, well, I wouldn't say hard, it's just tedious, so that you have to pull that apart. So here we go. There's one potted up, and then here's another one. Now I have lots of things, and I won't bore you with all of it, but here's some of my petunias that I started from seed, and these are in these containers too, and they're doing great. And they've been in there several weeks. So I wouldn't over worry unless you're planning on leaving like an orchid or something in a clear pot. I actually do have an orchid in a clear pot, but it's inside of another little container like this that it came in, and it's just doing gorgeous. I've had it for a few years, no problems, but you know, being inside that other container, it blocks the light from hitting on the roots. So I guess that's the answer if you have a clear container like this. So, okay, that's that one. And number 3, I think that's all that has sprouted there. So that's the update. Let's see that. Ooh, let me pay attention to what I'm doing here so I don't. Yeah, that one came off just fine. Now, I've read, because I've not been very tough with sunflowers, I've always been rather gentle, that they can take potting up and all this movement around. They're not super, super sensitive. Oh, there's another one. Let me get another little pot. Oh, wait a minute. I guess I put them all over here. Pay attention to what I'm doing. So, anyways, as I said, I am going to plant many more sunflowers this year, and I'm going to keep succession planting them so I can keep getting them. And hopefully the gophers will leave the plants alone. I just lost another oriental poppy. It had come up in an area where I had another one. Totally surprised me because it had been eaten last year by the gophers. I'm just checking to see if I missed any in here. No, the rest of them were duds. But I got 4. That was pretty good out of that old seed packet. Anyways, so I'm back to battling them, which no surprise there. And anyways, I was so surprised that this oriental poppy came up, and I was thrilled. And I just had seen something had dug up an area over there. And I went and looked closer, and that poppy was gone. It wasn't right there where the dug up part was. And I looked down and it was gone. I'm like, what's going on? Maybe slugs, maybe something ate it, because it just looked like it disappeared or shriveled up. And then I looked down closer and I touched it, and there was a big gopher tunnel right there. So I know a gopher came and ate it. And I thought I had gotten rid of the gophers back there. And high spread repellent, you know, all of that. So I know they like Oriental poppies. The only reason I left it there was it came back from last year. I hadn't anticipated that. I was hoping I could stay on top of the gophers back there before one of them got to it, but I didn't. So I know I'm going to, if I start more from seed, I will make sure they're in a container. I can put them in a pot, sink it in the ground, and it'll protect it from the gophers, and or do a gopher cage. The pots are easy. Making the cages can be tedious, but they do work. Okay, so that's my little update there. Next week we're going to get in the 80s, and then the nights will be in the 50s, so everything in here is just going to go va-voom. It's already a jungle in here, but anyways, yeah, that's great. That's my update on my winter sowing. The fail of my poo pots, and I won't use those again. And the concerns about these little clear pots that people have mentioned and why I'm not worried about it. And I don't really think you should either, and how you can mitigate any issues that may occur. So I hope you enjoyed this little update on everything going on. This is May 7th, 1 week into May. We still have a couple weeks left before our typical last frost date, but I should be able to get started in my little greenhouse with some tomatoes, some gorgeous tomatoes in the ground. So I hope to see you in my next video, where I'll be working on something else. I have got to get my rose alley. I want to start getting my roses planted, even though I don't have my arbors yet. Get it measured out, and other fun things out there. So I will see you in my next video.